So we're now going to Amparo Domingo. She's the Women's Human Rights Country Contact in Spain and will tell us about Spanish language networking, amongst other things. Over to you, Amparo.
We have just presented you all 9 articles of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights, a document that has been supported so far by almost 16,000 people from 129 countries. And it also has the support of over 300 organizations from all over the world. Women's Human Rights Campaign, as Sheila has explained, is the radical feminist organization responsible for creating the Women's Declaration, as this document is also known. The declaration was created when the founders of WHRC realized feminists should devise a legal document to fight the replacement of sex by gender identity in law, policy, and social practice, which is creating new forms of discrimination against women and girls all over the world. We are a truly global organization, as we attested today in this presentation, where women from 5 continents are participating live in it, from Australia to Canada, including India, Congo, Germany, United Kingdom, Spain, Argentina, Brazil, and the United States. So far, WHRC has representatives in 33 countries, which is a sign of both how widespread this replacement of sex with gender identity is, and how concerned but also deeply motivated women are. Women are uniting and creating new networks and alliances internationally and within their own countries to show our opposition to this denial of our physical existence and to the erasure of the legal category of women in our laws. In Spain, where I live, numerous groups of radical feminists have been launched in the past months, alarmed at the attempts of our government to legalize the self-identification of sex in official documents. Many of them, along with already existing feminist organizations, have conjoined in a platform called Confluencia Movimiento Feminista, of which WHRC Spain is a member of, in order to jointly oppose this new piece of legislation, since it would be a de facto invalidation, for instance, of our current bill on gender-based violence, which is considered to be a very progressive piece of legislation and an example of good practice in that field. Together, we are creating new materials to denounce the covert changes in legislation that have already been done, like in education, for instance, since now Spanish teachers have become a sort of gender police that are compelled to intervene under the suspicion of having a trans kid in their classroom if any student deviates from stereotypical gender behavior, which are cliches, under the protocols introduced via regional legislation in most parts of our country. This is just an example of how bad things are here at the moment. Internationally, we have different ways of working collaboratively. One, it is within WHRC itself by creating language-based networking, for instance. Spanish-speaking country contacts for WHRC decided last year to work together to create content in Spanish language for our countries. We started that collaboration by presenting the declaration to Spain and Latin America last August, and we have continued periodically to bring awareness to this matter in our own native language. So far, we have had philosophical discussions with prominent feminists. We have defended women's sports. We have stood up against censorship and harassment to those brave feminists that are daring to speak up. And we have shown how bad the situation is in Argentina in terms of women's rights, 9 years after that country passed their self-ID law that has overturned the meaning of equality and inclusion by expelling women from governmental policies. We plan to keep on making as much information as possible available for Spanish-speaking women. I'd like to mention that, of course, our German sisters are also creating content in their own language for German speakers, and will have webinars in French language too. Globally, Women's Human Rights Campaign is creating a vibrating feminist community at the same time that we highlight and expose the extent to which the changes of legislation are being carried out in different countries. We are networking with feminists from all over the world, and our YouTube channel is testimony to the experiences of dozens of them and how these changes are affecting the daily lives of women and girls in many different countries. This is something very important since most of the changes in legislation have so far been carried out without public debate. So by producing this material, we help feminists from other countries to have a better perspective on the whole situation and also help them to start new collaborations among them. By doing all this, Women's Human Rights Campaign is leading the defense of women's sex-based rights globally, and we invite all women concerned about this matter to join us. Thank you very much.